Recon's like Flintstones vitamins. It's one a day, one a day.
One a day. That's multivitamin, isn't it?
Some people don't know what Flintstone vitamins are, Denny.
That's true.
There's not a soul on this thing that does not know what a
I
Flintstone vitamin.
assure you, I'm old enough fully to know what those are.
Yes, there's a
I didn't
few of
see
us.
Mark.
Never heard of Flintstones? Would you please raise your hand? You've heard of no, we have not heard of Flintstones.
I didn't see Mark laugh, so I'm assuming he did not know.
That's
So,
Mark
right.
didn't. Mark doesn't
He's
laugh. He didn't laugh
he's
yet.
got no gray in his beard either, so he doesn't know what Flintstones is.
Well, I think my VA is has no power, so lucky you guys. There will be no FaceTime recording, so it'll be us, which would be great. It'll be recorded on Zoom. This will be posted to my YouTube channel, Danny Grimes, the Master of Real Estate. I don't see Louise yet. If anybody sees her pop in, let me know, and I will let her in. So I guess then, Don, you can or Kelly can watch the control tower. And what we're going to do today, today's the 13th. Yay, Wednesday. So I go all week. Today I get to have a glass of wine. Woo. This is the third in what could be a 5-part series. It may end up be a 4-part series. We'll work on it tomorrow. This is the AI generated list buyer interview. You guys will be in the buyer seat. And I took about 50 questions and broke it down into the top 5 in different categories. So we've already covered a couple. Yesterday, we talked about compensation. It started out a little awkward. I think it got better as we went. I'm going to ask a question, and this was generated by GPT chat, that I want you to think about here for a moment. And I'm going to give you, a formula to develop a value proposition, which is what we're going to be talking about on Mastery on Friday. This call is an hour long on Friday and 9:30 to 10:30, and I want to work on value proposition. So the question you are going to be asked at a buyer's agent interview is, what risk mistakes do buyers make in this market? And what will you do to prevent me from making? Now, I have never been asked that in my 40-some years in that format. But let me ask you guys a question. This is the preamble, right? People are still coming in. Have you seen buyers make mistakes?
Mhm.
Yes. So my question is, if someone says, listen, I want to have an agent that helps me not make a mistake, you should be able to articulate what are the major mistakes agents, buyers make, and how you will help them. Now, I practiced this yesterday on a couple of different agents. So hear me on this if you want to play on this call. This is not a commercial for all the things you do. If you start going into a bio, that's not answering this question. So be thinking in terms of what mistakes agents make. So let's do a couple of these really quick. And then I want to start unpeeling the onion. I'm going to give you something pretty handy, if I don't say so myself. I think maybe even Frank will be impressed. So who's in the control tower?
So I got it. Today's scenario, already mentioned by Denny here. So our first participant is going to be Frank with Don.
Hey, Frank, we've asked 2 other agents this in prior interviews. What mistakes do buyers make in this market, and what will you do to protect us from doing that?
Don, that's really a good question. Now you've bought before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're a little bit more experienced than a first-time buyer. My job is to protect you throughout this process. However, sometimes you will fail forward, like when you're making your offer. I'm going to advise you, but you're going to make the final decisions. What kind of issues are you concerned about?
Well, we know the market's kind of slowing down a little bit, so obviously, number one, we don't want to overpay. We've done
Okay.
that before. Um, Two, the last time we did this, we had some repairs that we think should have been caught or brought up that we could have asked for and we were advised not to. And those repairs cost us money. Those are the big things.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like negotiation is what's important to you.
Yeah, right. Around the dollars. Yes.
Okay, okay. And that's one of the things I'm here for, and that for to help you. One of the biggest things I'm here to help you is one, negotiate the offer, also negotiate the other landmines that happen throughout the process, such as inspections. So I'm here to protect you. In that, boy, I don't know where to go with this, guys.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Well,
Got it. Well, you started to find out what's important to them, but I want you to be thinking, and here's a little help, Frank, and I appreciate you going first. Think in terms of, you may want to jot down, you may want to even put in the chat some of the mistakes buyers make. We're just going to do a couple of these, and I'm going to give you a framework that I think would be very helpful for you as you formulate your value proposition. Remember, your value proposition should not read like a Stephen King novel. It shouldn't be that thick, and it should not go from beginning to end. It should be more like a Dr. Seuss book, okay?
And there's one cardinal sin that they make, and you can start with that.
All right?
I won't share it right now.
No,
but,
can't. You're in the
there's-
penalty box anyway. You're like 2 seconds late.
My computer needed a back rub.
Yeah. Hey, Louise, are you here?
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay.
in.
Are you letting people in?
I don't have the ability to let people in. I don't know who has that option.
If somebody can make her co-host, that'd be great. Cindy has no, Sherry has no power.
All right. Well, if somebody can pass it over, I'll
That's
do it.
okay. I got it.
Got
So
it.
who's next?
Mark
So
and Kelly.
next we have Mark with Louise, and Louise, I'm going to turn
Well,
this over to you.
Mark with Kelly, and then it'll be Robert with Louise. I already threw that in. Thanks.
All right. Hey, Mark. So, what risk or mistakes do buyers make in this market, and what will you do to protect me from them?
Well, Kelly, there's a whole menu items of mistakes that buyers can potentially make. Was there anything that concerned you specifically?
Well, I'm not really sure. I haven't bought before.
Okay.
So, what should I be looking for?
Well, the biggest thing that I've seen, especially with first-time home buyers, is they want to get a deal. And what I've seen in the past is potential clients missing out on the home that checked off their boxes because they didn't put their best deal forward. Was there anything else?
I'm going to
What
pause
do
you
you
a minute.
mean?
No, you guys, again, asking questions is great. At some point in time,
Got to tell them something.
yes, you got to, you've been dating for 15 years. Are you going to pop the question or not? Come on.
And I know why you guys are doing it, because we train. The way that Denny and I coach is very Socratically. Questions, good questions. But guys, when they ask you a question, this my mentor, father-in-law always told me, when they ask you a question, you have permission to tell them something.
Mhm. So should I tell them like more like a checklist instead of just like the one?
No, here, I'm going to quiz you, Mark, but I'm not going to
Okay.
tell you. What is the biggest mistake a seller or a buyer can make entering into the market?
I do not have an answer for you.
Okay, so we'll try it again. Denny?
Well, okay. Well, again, I don't know what the biggest is. I have some, and I'm actually afraid to answer because it may be the second biggest. But here's
Can
the
I
issue.
respond?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Yes, you can. Go ahead. I'll respond. Go ahead. Then I'm going to make my statement. What's the biggest one?
Janet.
Not being represented by a professional.
Exactly.
That would be my answer there. So we're all on the same page. So here's my point. They are asked, is this a legitimate question? Number one, if you were a
100%.
potential uneducated public, is this a legitimate question? I think it is, although I've never had it in that form. But do you think this could be part of your value proposition?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, here's a puzzling thing. It's okay. No judgment. We all know buyers make mistakes, but you're not prepared to enumerate them.
Mhm.
We have to help them discover the mistakes they make. Now,
Mhm.
here's a little teaching point, you guys. I won't undo the onion yet. I went to a class one time because I am a student of presentations. I mean, I'm in front of people all the time. That's my passion, to be a platform or speaker. One day I'll do that, be that. So I went to a class written, a guy named Carmine Gallo wrote a book called The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs. And if you remember when he did his Apple little deals before he passed away, they were masterfully done. Why? Because he kept it simple. He remembered one rule. It's called the rule of three. Does anybody know what that is? The rule of three says, listen, we could probably come up with 13 different things that buyers do poorly or make mistakes or cause them problems. They won't remember 13. How many will they remember?
3 if you're lucky.
3. So when you have to give something that may be quasi-complex, we as the experts, and experts can make things simpler, you boil it down to 3. Janet had the first one. And I'm going to give you a memory peg. We're going to do one more, then I'm going to give you a memory peg to help you build this. Does that make sense, Matt?
Absolutely.
So let's do another one.
All right, next we have Robert with Louise.
Hey, Robert, what risk or mistakes do buyers make in this market, and what will you do to protect me from them?
Well, before I answer this question, Luis, if I may, would you rather I be an agent with you that sugarcoats everything, or would you rather I get to the point?
Get to the point, please.
Very good. So I have your permission to speak candidly.
That's the second time you asked the same question. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just ask it the first time? And by the way, Robert is our mastery level student. I don't know. They ask you, is this really a question? Listen, I'm taking driving lessons from you. You're my driving coach. What should I be careful of? And you say to me, well, how direct do you want me to be with you? You know, we don't say honest. Well, I don't want to get run over. So do you feel the need to preface it with that? Matt, what do you think?
You can, but don't double tap it. You know, like in Zombieland, the movie, you know, double tap, make sure the zombies are dead. That's, you know, I watch all kinds of movies. But anyway, you don't have to double tap it. Ask for permission once and then proceed.
Very good. So Luis, there are innumerable amount of mistakes that people make, but I would say the number one mistake is the fact that they go into the game unrepresented. I'm hoping that's what you're seeking for me, is that you're looking for representation. Is that right?
I am. I want to make sure someone's going to help me avoid those mistakes and risks, minimize the risks.
Very good. And is there any mistakes that come to mind that you're genuinely worried about initially?
They don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
Okay. So I mean, you know, one of the biggest mistakes I find is that when we find the correct house, I have buyers that want to dance around making an offer and they don't put their best offer forward first. So the first mistake that I would tell you not to make would be is when we get ready to write an offer, put your best foot forward first.
Okay, I'm gonna go time. Now this is really interesting. So Matt is boiled down. Now you started out saying, hey, there's a lot of mistakes, which is great. Then you should have said there's 3 deadly mistakes.
Okay.
The first one is going unrepresented. Now you're fishing because you don't have the other two yet. But we're going to give you three, okay? Because Matt has things boiled down to simple. How many people can quote, Matt, what are the four things real estate agents are known for?
Full voicemails, not returning phone calls, always late, don't follow instructions.
Boom. Isn't that easy?
Mhm.
They're nincompoops in a lot of areas.
Mm-hmm.
So let me help you. Here's my teaching. I use the metaphor. We haven't seen this in a while, you guys, behind me. So pin me if you can't see this. This is the memory peg we have for handling objections. Isolate, clarify, motivate, go to pain, then basically close. That's the baseball diamond. Everybody knows baseball diamonds. My wife knows diamonds really well. Next, I'm going to give you another memory peg. This is how you build your value proposition. If the buyer came in and said, look, I never bought a home before. I haven't bought one in a while. What's the process? Here we go. Can you read behind me? What's it say?
Choose the agent.
Agent.
Janet's right on. Janet and Matt, right on point. Second one, second base. Get ready. Third base, establish criteria. Fourth base, home. Look at homes. Now we can come up with some series. And we can give examples. So they choose the wrong agent. So you went to making offers. Okay, so that can be wrapped up in getting ready. What are some things people can do to get ready? What about their lease? What about their credit? What about their letter of approval? All that. The other thing they make a mistake on getting ready is the fact is they don't know what the market's like, and then they make offers or they let their emotions rule. In other words, if you're not ready, the downside, Mr. Buyers, you're going to get your heart broken.
Yeah.
Why? You're going to see Mr. Wonderful and not be ready to buy it, or you're going to dink around with an offer and lose it because you're not ready. Does that make sense? Matt, go ahead and add to that if you want.
Yeah, there are 1,000 things you could tell them. Pick three. Pick three.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's Denny's three, whether it's the 3-4 that I recommend, the most common mistakes realtors or buyers or sellers make is they go into the market unrepresented or poorly represented, meaning they call the other agent, whatever. Okay. Second mistake, the market's going to speak whether you're a buyer or a seller. You have to choose whether you're going to listen or not. And I can expand on that when I'm in the appointment. If it's a buyer, is it a seller's market or a buyer's market? To Denny's point, it's, what type of offers are we writing? Be educated on the market. Okay, so the market's going to speak. It's a question of whether you listen. Third, get your finances in order. If you're stroking a check for this, make sure your money's at the ready. And because the very best deals sell quickly in any market. And if you're getting financing, speak to a lender to find out exactly what it looks like if we're going to buy. And then fourth, the fourth mistake, I think they can retain 4, but the fourth is the biggest mistake that I'm going to do to protect you is I'm going to protect you from yourself if you let me. So that's it.
Good point. So you can use my little memory peg or whatever, but you need to be prepared. Boom, boom, boom. You know what else? Not one other agent they interview with will be prepared.
Right.
You'll stand out like a Buck fan at a Phillies game. Okay. All right. Next.
Gwen and Don.
And notice how I didn't ramble, and notice how Denny didn't ramble. Just pick them and go with it.
Don, you're on mute. And you're up with Gwen.
Such a rookie. What mistakes, Gwen, do buyers like us make in this market? And what will you do to help us prevent making those same mistakes?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes is not being properly represented. And I can help you, of course, with that by, representing you. And another is they're not properly prepared. And what I mean by that, you're not sure of your financial situation. You're not sure of the current market situation. I can help you with that. And I can help you be prepared so you understand the terms of the contract. And the third thing is
That was
just
four.
that was four. Cool, great, I'm done.
Okay, now that was like 35 or 40 seconds. Now you can expand on any of them, but here I'm going to pick up on what somebody said is that I think it was I forget who it was. Maybe it was Robert. There's a lot of mistakes people can make, but let me share with you the top 3 or 4. Boom, 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 boom. And that's power. When you say, hey, look, here are the top 3 or 4. People are listening to that, right? They make books about that. It's called, basket weaving for dummies.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're bullet pointing it.
Yep. I don't really have anything to add. Just pick your 4, Gwen, just pick your 4, figure out what your 3 or 4 are and stick with them. I really like just like I talked about the 4 corners of a contract the other day. I didn't talk about what they were, but I mentioned know what they are. There's 4 corners to a contract. Know what they are. There's 3 to 4 things, big things that a buyer or a seller mistakes they can make. Know what they are. Be able to verbalize them quickly. Yeah, whether it's me or somebody else, they fail to hire a realtor that they know and trust to represent their best interest, or they're poorly represented. Number 2, the market's going to speak whether you're a buyer or a seller. Know what it's saying and what that means for you in your transaction. The third thing, if you're writing a check for it, make sure your money's at the ready and we don't need to sell something to get access to it. And if you're getting financing, talk to a lender. And then the fourth thing, what am I going to do to protect you from all these? I'm going to protect you from yourself if you let me.
Now, I know we're not helping you come up with your 3 or 4. However, whatever they are, make sure it is in kind of a logical order, meaning don't have pick the agent last.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have to make it conversational. Like, for example, if you're in an interview and they're asking you that question, you say, well, Matt, congratulations, because you're dealing with first base right now. And no matter what agent you hire the right one that can answer this question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm applying for the jobs. That's how you make it conversational.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing that I want to emphasize on where I think a lot of agents make mistakes: establish criteria. Generally, that's the first thing a buyer wants to talk about and an agent wants to talk about. That should not be the first thing. And even when you get to that subject, guys, it's not what they want that is important. It's what their non-negotiables are that are more important. You have to understand their non-negotiables. Any comment, Matt?
Yeah. Yes. Not negotiables. 1, 2. Mark in chat was asking, do we need to speak about now? How are we going to represent you, or how are we going to protect you in those? And you don't really have to. It speaks for itself in your answer. It's like, what are the biggest mistakes? How can you protect me from them? Well, I can, number 1, hire somebody that's going to represent your best interest. Protect yourself. 2, know what the market's saying. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go over that today. Know what it's saying and what that means for you, whether you're a buyer or a seller. 3, get your money in order. If you got to sell rugs in Afghanistan, get them sold. Have the money at the ready. Okay, so meaning you don't have to opine and expand on all these things on this is what I'm going to do to protect you, because it's self-explanatory in the points. That's why Denny and I are saying find 3 or 4, be able to verbalize them, and keep them simple. Don't make them abstract.
Yeah, abstract is I'm a professional. I abide by the code of ethics, so that doesn't help them.
Yeah, right. You're using very obfuscated terms to them. Just keep it simple.
Good feedback. Next.
Hey, Mike Brennan, what risk or mistakes do buyers make in this market? And what will you do to protect me from them?
Hey, Louise, that's a great question. The first thing that pops out to my mind is that a lot of buyers are poorly represented, and that means choosing an agent that is knowledgeable of the market. Another thing is that it's important for buyers to be aware of what the market's saying and to respond to what the market's saying appropriately. And then if a buyer is a cash buyer, they should have their cash in order, ready to go, have it, at their fingertips. If they're a financer, if they're financing their purchase, they should be pre-approved. And then lastly, uh, you know, have somebody that you can relate to and communicate well with. So those are the biggest
Time.
things that you.
I'm going to stop you there because you went right back to agent. So I know you haven't formulated this, and this is the risk. Look, I mean, no matter who we have here on coaches, Matt and I do the majority of that, but you've got Kelly and Don and Louise, they do things a little bit differently. But the challenge is when you're hearing me and then Matt, I know you haven't formulated your 3 or 4 yet, so I don't expect you to have it kind of like solid. But it needs to be solid. Whatever your 3 or 4 are, work on it in your mind, because when someone asks you this is part of your value proposition, guys. When somebody asks you, well, I don't even know the procedure of buying a home, think of the basis. Well, first thing is you got to find an agent. Most people want to find a home. It's backwards. You don't want to sign up for a golf tournament if you don't know how to play golf. You may want to hire a coach and get lessons, right? You don't want to buy a car, then do the research on buying a car.
Right. Yep. I bought a Bentley only to find out that I had the money to buy a Bentley, or I got approved for a Bentley, but then I didn't realize the oil changes were $900 an oil change. It's like, well, do your research. And guys, when you have I know that I like to explain things in a way where they are transferable. They translate between buyer and seller. However, if you're doing a buyer consultation, I have the home buying process, the long version or the short version, in my buyer consultation. And it's so funny that these items we're talking about on here, it's like the first 2 or 3 items of my buyer consultation. Find a realtor you know and trust. Talk to a lender. This puts you in the driver's seat when it comes to negotiating. Verbatim, that's from my buyer consultation. So if any of you have a well-formulated buyer consultation, part of the home buying process, if you have that spelled out in there somewhere, you probably have your top 2 or 3 right there. Be able to verbalize them.
Okay. Good time for another one. So Mike, you understand why he stopped you?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here's the other thing he said. Well, what comes to my mind sounded too casual to me.
Okay.
I would say, that's an important question. I would have highlighted that question. Here they are. Here are the top 3 or 4 things that the buyer needs to know, whatever. But it's not a casual, well, it just comes to my mind. I think it might be raining tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. It's Jeffrey Fisher talks about how when you're in a job interview and you get asked, well, what makes you think that you'll be a good fit for our organization? And they say, well, I think I'd be a good fit. No, I'm confident that I would be a good fit for your organization. And so when they ask, well, some things that come to mind? No. Based on my experience, these are the top 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 things that most buyers and sellers make mistakes on when they enter the process.
Right. No, that makes it sound like you've had a lot of interactions and experience. So,
and I'll give you one more little saying, and this is for everybody, guys. I say this all the time to clients. In the 5,000 sales that I've been a part of, I've seen anything that can go wrong in a transaction go wrong at least 100 times. Here are the top things. You can say something like that.
Yes. When you go to YouTube, who loves YouTube? I love YouTube, right? Because it fits my attention span. The best thumbnail say, here's the 3 things to avoid if you're trying to lose visceral fat. I'm clicking on that one. Obviously, I haven't followed all those videos yet, Matt, but I will one day. All right.
You're putting them in a playlist. It's okay.
Virginia Beach, Jose is going to bring us home with Kelly.
All right, Jose. So what risk or mistakes do buyers make in this market, and what will you do to protect me from them?
Kelly, there's many mistakes a buyer can do in the process. I'm going to share with you what I've seen as a professional in the market. Number 1 is choosing the right agent. You want to have the right agent in your corner, whether it be me or someone else. Number two is getting ready, whether that's your current living situation, your finances, and then establishing the criteria. And then lastly is looking at homes.
Okay. Great. What do we do with that?
Well, if you have a number one that you know is the right person in your corner, they'll help you navigate any other issues that might come up. But
Right,
number
I get
one
that.
is
So
crucial
I'm Kelly's brother. No, I'm probably his dad. Well, why should we hire you?
because I'm gonna make sure that your interests are being kept up.
Obfuscate. Obfuscate. Don't make it murky.
Yeah, no, I got
It's all right. It's all right.
I got stumped.
Well, and here's what I would say, because you're about 37 seconds into that conversation, and if the brother said that to me, I'd say, "Well, Denny, that's a great question, and frankly, I'm not sure." I'm holy crap. Debbie's
Somebody's
having a
getting yelled
conversation.
at.
Yeah, Debbie's Debbie, here's another word of the day. Debbie is castigating whatever that is. Um, so if Denny were to say that to me in the meeting, I'd say, well, Denny, that's a great question. And frankly, at this point in the meeting, I'm not sure that you should. Can we proceed to find out if I am a good fit to help you?
Right. My pivot would be, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the antidote to these risks, and then you can decide on your own if I'm a good agent that you should.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So
Whenever,
go ahead.
no, whenever people ask you, like Denny and I've given you the objection handler 900 times on here about whenever they say, why should I hire you? What Denny just said, well, we can talk about it and you can decide. Or, I'm not sure you should right now, knowing what I know. We have more to talk about. See how confident that conveys? Whereas every other agent would be like, well, that's what they would do for 15 minutes straight. I'm not sure you should right now. That's why we need to have this conversation.
I'd love you to get to the point where you would be willing to, but not ask. But this is the question we would like to ask after they ask us this one.
Do you think you should?
Let me ask you, what risk and mistakes do agents make in this market when they elect to work with a buyer? And how will you protect me from them? In other words, why should I work with you?
Right.
How about that, guys? See, when you get to that point, now you're standing on, that's probably self-actualization, if that even exists. What do you think? So we got a few minutes. Any hands going up? Any questions on this? It's not being recorded anyway, so it's just going to be recorded on Zoom.
I want
Anybody
to
have anything?
comment. Yeah, I want to comment on what Matt said when you're asked point blank, why should I hire you? His approach is non-combative. It's not one against the other. It's immediately on the same team. I don't know if you should, but let's talk some more and then you can decide.
Well, if you're on your first date and you're on some sort of dating website and you're having your little, 1 hour coffee, and somebody said, well, why should we go on a second date? Well, what would be a legitimate statement one may make? I'm not sure I want a second date.
Yeah. Like, do you take a ring in a little box on the first date? I'm sure you don't. So it's like I'm still deciding if I want to be here every step of the way. Every appointment I go to, guys, which I'm starting to go on more appointments, Denny. I know you were getting worried there for a while. We put 5 under contract this week, like actually pending. So every appointment I go on, it's not that I'm looking for reasons to not help them. I'm looking for reasons to help them and make sure that I genuinely can meet or exceed their expectations. I'm deciding, do we need to be in the same room together, but not from a place of judgment. That's what I want to get, because remember, I'm a mindset and a communication coach. Your mindset should not be, I'm better than these people. Your mindset should be radical humility on, can I actually help them? And if I can't, I need to morally and ethically walk away from this. If agents, yeah,
Janet,
go
that's
ahead.
2 days in a row. You give Matt love, no love for me.
Mm.
Hey, Anita, what's up?
I got a question. How about if they ask what makes you different from the other agent?
Different in what way?
Like, what are you going to do differently? What is going to make you different? What are you're just going to put a sign on the front yard and that's it, and just wait for buyers to come.
Just slow down a little bit here, okay? I mean, don't react to the question.
Hmm.
Can you answer that question? Unless you know what you're different than.
Right. What are you comparing me to? Are you comparing?
What's the comparison?
Mm-hmm.
What's the comparison?
What is the
Okay.
plumb line?
Yeah.
So I know you want to like dive into that head first, but make sure there's some water in the pool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like this is the very loose parallel. But Anita, if you're the
Hmm.
seller, Anita, would you be surprised to find out that there are brokerages that you can call and give them a couple $100 and they will put your property on the market, but they don't represent you in any way, shape, or form. You're just setting yourself up to get sued by any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Would you be surprised to find that out? Is that what you're comparing me to? And again, very, very loose, but I want you guys to really see the extremes of this. You can have zero representation as a buyer or a seller. Zero. Are they comparing you to that? Or are they comparing you to Denny Grimes, who's been a realtor in the industry for 40 years? He's coached thousands of agents across the country. He's sold thousands of properties. Like, who are you comparing me to?
If you had a restaurant and they ask you what's different about your restaurant, like compared to what?
I mean, we're both open at 9 o'clock. It's like, well, what are you talking about?
So start recognizing poor questions. Don't judge them on them, but don't answer a poor question because there's no such thing as a great answer to a poor question.
Yes. Just I've said it before. Don't just because you're invited to a fist fight or an argument doesn't mean you have to accept the invitation. When they ask you a poor question, I just had this last night. I'm putting an offer in on a property over in Lithia, Fishhawk, east of Tampa, and the buyer's boyfriend. This is a past client. I've done 4 deals with her. The buyer's boyfriend is saying things about risk of loss. Risk of loss is, when there's the property's damaged before closing. He's saying things about risk of loss that make no sense. I have no idea what he's saying. And I stopped. And 3 times, guys, 3 times, I had to say, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you please rephrase it? I'm not, but what would most agents do? They'd say, well, this is what that means. And they would try to answer it. Guys, don't engage in a poor conversation. Get clarity.
Well, Friday, we'll be working on a value articulated model for you being a buyer's agent. And Anita, if we just use this slide right here, whether you're 3 or 4, if somebody asks you that, your answers could be so good on these 3 or 4 items that you would outshine any competition. Because most people wouldn't know how to answer that question, right? So I see no other hands. Matt, Louise, Kelly, Don, you go back to bed, Don, if you want to. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys. Be good.